Hello, Eagle fans. Jonathan Duran coming to you from the NCCU Sports Network studio for the final time this season as North Carolina Central gets ready for Delaware State on Senior Day, November 20th, 1 o'clock kickoff against the Hornets. That game will be live on ESPN+. Hope that you will join us there as the Eagles will wrap up the season with a chance still for a share of the MEAC title. Delaware State last week with a surprising come-from-behind victory against Norfolk State. They were down 26-0 heading to the half and turned it around and got the win over the Spartans. So the Spartans got knocked out, and now they're going to be taking on South Carolina State, and all eyes are going to be on that game. If the Spartans defeat South Carolina State, North Carolina Central will share the title with the Bulldogs. However, since the Bulldogs won the head-to-head, that would allow them to go to the Celebration Bowl. So even though the return trip to Atlanta, isn't on the line for the Eagles, still a chance for another trophy to add to the cabinet, and that's what the Eagles are going to be fighting for on Saturday. As usual, we had the opportunity to speak with the coaching staff. I want to go ahead and first and foremost give my thanks to them, to Travis Taylor, the rest of I want to first of all give my thanks to the coaching staff, to Travis Taylor, to the rest of the support staff for NCCU football for all the help that they have given me this year, and really for everything that they've done to be able to make this football team go. I'm really grateful to them, really grateful to the coaches for their access as they have helped this to be a successful season for us here on the NCCU Sports Network. So here's our sit down with head coach Trei Oliver as we talk about last week's game. Again, the magic number for the Eagles was hit, 24 unanswered points. You'll hear me talk about that with each of the coaches. And here's Coach Oliver as he talks about the senior class, what's ahead for the Eagles, and a few final words for the Eagle fans.
Coach, it's nice to see you again. Got one more week to go. The Eagles got a great win last week. Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you. It was a big win up there in Howard, and I thought we made some improvements, and it's really good to see this late in the year that the guys are still improving, and they just didn't get stagnant. And but I did see us improve in all three phases this past week, and we were fortunate enough to come out of there with the win.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about this team improving, and they've been a little consistent over the last few games, and it's in an odd sort of way. Coach, for the third time, 24 unanswered points. I mean, what's going on with this offense? What makes them so good?
I wish we'd start off a little bit better. I think third week in a row we've fumbled on either the first or second, turned the ball over the first or second drive. But I think that the guys are really gelling, and we still are dealing with a bunch of injuries. But I think that the offensive line is playing together as a unit, and with that being said, we can run the ball a little bit better now, and Pee Wee is a little more comfortable back there in the pocket. So, like I've said all year, it starts up front, and we have some playmakers. And when those guys up front handle their business, good things happen.
Guys up front really did get the job done. Eagles with a boatload of rushing yards. We saw Mookie Collier get loose again. How good was it to see this offensive line work together? As he talked about, it's been a little bit of a mix and match this year.
Yeah, it's been something. I've never seen anything like this in 20-some years of coaching. But those guys, I thought that was really about grit and just being tough. We didn't execute every drive like we wanted to, and execute every assignment like we wanted to. But I thought that those guys really played hard-nosed football. And when you can get a little bit moving up front, we have the running back core that can make you pay. So I thought, those three guys, Todd and Mookie Collier and Jordan Freeman, had a heck of a day.
530 total yards of offense is never a bad day. And Coach, also we saw Jawan Hudson. He got his name called quite a few times again. He's really stepped up defensively. Eagle defense really clamped down in the second half. And as you've seen them come together, do you really think this team is finally almost to the point where you want them to be as you're going into this last game of the season?
Well, like I said, we're improving. We're nowhere near where I would want us to be or would like us to be. But, like I said, you see improvement in all areas. I thought the defense played better with their run fits this week. We did give up a couple of explosive runs. But overall, I thought those guys played well. I thought our defensive line played well. And I thought the secondary played with great eye discipline. Howard tried a bunch of trick plays and flea flickers and everything else. And our guys had great eye discipline and kept their eyes clean and were playing, locked up on their men.
Jonathan Duran with Eagles head coach Trei Oliver. Coach, next up, it's Delaware State, final game of the season. Before we talk about Del State, you look back over the course of this year, and what do you have to say about this football team, about where they've started to where they are now?
I mean, it's a resilient group, and they just persevered through a whole lot of adversity. And it looked promising early on. We beat Alcorn down in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. And then, we had a tough schedule. We had a lot of guys beat up and banged up. And but I'm pleased with these guys' effort. I'm pleased with their attitude. And we have a great group of young men. And, both on and off the field. So we wish we'd have been undefeated in the conference so we could control our own destiny. But we did drop one, which is unfortunate. But I think we can finish strong this weekend with the win against Delaware State. And, I think it'll be a successful season.
Delaware State taking on the role of playing spoiler. They beat Norfolk State last week, and a surprising come from behind win. It's a Delaware State team when, quite personally, when I've seen them over the last few years, I really think that they've been better than what people on the outside have seen. So, Coach, you look at this Del State team, as you're scouting them for the weekend, what has stood out to you?
Well, I think they've always been, like you said, a little underrated, and they've always played hard. They're a tough group, but I think now that they have some talent to go with that. Up front, their defensive line, they're probably the best defensive line in the conference. They have one young man, he's up for, I think it's Isaiah Williams. He's up for the defensive player of the year. And, the defensive line, linebacker core, they have some guys that can flat out play. They did get down against Norfolk this past weekend, 26-0, and they came back and pulled it out. So, they are a good football team, but, again, it's always about us. And if we do what we're supposed to do and we execute and don't beat ourselves, I think we'll be just fine this weekend.
All right, Coach, you talked a little bit about the keys, but can you get a little more in depth? What does this Eagle team have to do to close out with a win on Senior Day?
First of all, we must protect the football. We have to win the kicking game. And, again, up front, we have to be able to run the ball and stop the run. And they're going to load the box with 8 or 9 people and try to force you to throw the football. So, we're going to have to still try to figure out a way to run the football. And if they want to crowd the box and put all those people in there, we'll have to go up top and let some of these receivers that we have go to work. So it's going to be a good football game.
Coach, as always, I've enjoyed the time with you this year. And before we let you go, Coach, is there anything you'd like to say to this Eagle fan base in the final game of the season?
We just appreciate all of your support, both on the road and at home. And, it's going to be a big game today, and we're excited. So we got to get this dub for these seniors, send these guys out the right way.
Coach, congratulations on the great season. We'll see you Saturday.
Thank you. Take care.
That's head coach Trei Oliver. Now let's get to our keys to the game. We'll start on the defensive side with defensive coordinator Juan Navarro. This Eagle defense locked it down in the second half. Juwan Hudson with another blocked kick, and he was able to get the block there. And Brandon Codrington on the other side of him. Last time these two teams met, it was Codrington that had the kick return. That's when he put his name on the map. And he got the kick return for the TD that put the Eagles ahead in the waning moments of the game. And the Eagles picked off DSU to secure the win. But here's Coach Navarro talking about last week's game against the Bison and what's ahead for North Carolina Central as they meet DSU.
Coach, as always, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me again.
All right, Coach. Well, the Eagles heading into the final game of the season on Delaware State, but it comes up after another big win for North Carolina Central on the road at Howard. Again, they hit the magic number, 24 unanswered points. We talked about that over the last couple of weeks. But again, the defense just absolutely locked down the Bison in the second half. What really was so good for this Eagle defense?
I think it responded to some adversity. I think we started off again a little slow, and again, it's always nerve-wracking for that to happen. But I think that once they got into the mode of the game, they were able to respond to what the pictures were being shown. Now they're a very good team. I'll tell you what, they're going to be very good for years to come. They do a lot offensively, so I think it took our kids a little bit to settle down.
Took them a bit to settle down, but then they got into it. Of course, you had to respond after the early turnover, but again, we saw Juwan Hudson getting singled out, Noah Rainbow Douglas again stepping up, and really, coach, this team has just improved over the course of the year. And what have you seen from your eyes and where they've changed from the first game to now?
Again, awareness is getting better. If whether guys understand it or not, the defense had to change a little bit from what we were doing in the past. We obviously had a non-COVID year. We had late coaching change, and then we had, we hired 2 coaches, if you remember, in July. So we had to, bring some coaches. We had some players show up, like Juwan Hudson. If you think about it, he didn't show up until the summer. So we had to gel and start to come together. I think that again we're coming together at the right time. But again, it just takes experience. Like I said before, football is a developmental sport. It takes time. And I just think now they're gaining the amount of experience within the system is why they're getting better.
Juwan Hudson with another blocked kick. Coach, the Eagles had a few of their own kicks blocked early on in the season. How good does it feel to be able to turn the table?
Oh, it feels great. But you know what? That's a credit to both Coach Dan Owen and Coach Coach Greenwood, obviously, but Coach Dan Owen, Coach Greenwood, and Juwan, because they're out there and they will literally watch the tape together in terms of trying to get any jump on the count, any jump on any signal. So they're studying that, and I think that's a great job by them, first of all. But it feels great because you need them. 2 big-time ones again that change the momentum.
All right, Coach. Well, next up it's Delaware State. I know we've touched on this over the last few weeks or so, but it's the final game of the season. So, in your opinion, Coach, what's the final step for this Eagle defense to take?
I like to just start fast and stay there. That's what I would like to do. I like to be consistent, so we're playing through all 4 quarters. I like to make sure that we execute with consistency from series to series to series. That's what I want to see. I want to see some consistency from series to series, and I want to see us not wait so long for us to kind of get, now I wouldn't say comfortable, but acclimated to the pace of the game.
All right, Coach. Well, consistency is definitely going to be the key against Delaware State. That's coming in a surprising win for the Hornets against Norfolk State last week. The huge comeback, the same way we've seen North Carolina Central do. And Coach, in my opinion, I talked about this with Coach Leone and Coach Oliver. This Delaware State team, I feel, has been a little overlooked over the last few years. They've definitely been on the upward trend. And Coach, what have you seen from the Hornets here?
I'm on the same path as you are. I think they are a very good team. They have a very good set of running backs. 22 and 23 are very good running backs. Actually, it's 22, 23, and 24 all together are a very good set of running backs. They all have their own diverse skill set. The O-line does enough for them to move people around. And then they can threaten you vertically with those 2 receivers. The thing that people don't realize is that they have 3 tight ends that can legitimately set points that make it difficult for some teams to match up. So again, what you have to remember is that they're a team that can run the football. And when they need to throw the football, in my opinion, the quarterback is very, 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 very overlooked. Because if you watch his tape, he makes throws that, like, again, I know I mentioned the Carter to be the Wile E. Coyote. This guy's a real Wile E. Coyote. This guy is falling and he's moving over people and he's throwing ball downfield. He has a tremendous awareness for the field. And I think he brings the team a little bit of confidence. And then there are a bunch of gritty, hardworking guys. And I think their head coach has done a tremendous job of instilling that in them. And if you watch them play, they're thick, They're gritty. They'll put their hands on you. They'll move the line of scrimmage. So I think we have a very, very big task on our hand here coming forward. But like I said, I think Coach Milstead has done a great job with them. And I think that we're going to go in there and we're going to compete against them.
All right. Well, this is a team that's coming in here trying to ruin the Eagles' senior day. What are the keys for the Eagles to be successful?
Number one, stop the run. And if you stop the run, you can win first down. Those are the first two goals. Stop the run with physicality and win that first down. We have to limit the amount of yardage on first downs. I think that when we get into that, that's where we've been the most successful on third down. And then number three is we have to make sure that we play with a significant amount of awareness. They have trick plays. They have different formations. They condense sets down. So we really have to have an awareness for where our alignment and our assignment are relative to their different set of pictures that they're giving us. It's not only just, hey, look at the guy's stance. Now it's look at the formation. What plays do we anticipate? And then say, hey, where do I position myself within this play? So again, those are the three things, in my opinion, that we need to get done to win this game. But I think at the very top of those three, at the very top, it's going to go back to what I said at Norfolk, Jonathan. It's going to be win with mentality. Win with mentality. We're going to have to keep a sharp, hard edge mentality throughout the course of this game.
All right, Coach. Well, as the Eagles roll into the final game of the season, is there anything that you'd like to say to the Eagle fans?
I'd like to thank them very much for all their support, for all their care, for all their continued love of our Eagles. Our kids love to see people react to them positively. They love to be supported by our alumni and our fan base. And I really thank you for doing that. And I really want to make sure that I thank you, the fan base, and everybody that supports our athletic departments and our football program. Without you guys, there's a lack of motivation, I should say. And without you, there would be an absence of motivation for our kids. So on their behalf, and on behalf of our defense and on behalf of our team, I thank all our Eagle fans and I thank all our supporters for consistently showing up, for believing in us, and for staying and watching the Eagles play.
Hey, Coach, I can't thank you as much as well for everything you've done this year for this team. So thank you for your time. Thank you for all the hard work you put in, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
That's defensive coordinator Juan Navarro. You heard him talk about the three-headed attack for DSU in the backfield, featuring Michael Chris Ike. I'm sure you might remember his name from a couple of years ago when the Eagles went up to Dover. And he's also joined in the backfield with two freshmen, Syvian Wilkerson and Wade Inge, who have been toting the rock for a good amount of yardage. But hey, North Carolina Central, they've got three backs too, and they all got into the end zone last week. It was Isaiah Totten, Mookie Collier, Jordan Freeman, all touching the blue paint against Howard. The same thing that they did a couple of years ago. And if you saw the video released earlier this week from Calvin Barnes, you got to reflect on those three TDs back in our nation's capital a couple years back. So the Eagles successful on the ground against Howard. They're going to try to do the same against DSU. You heard Coach Oliver say they want to be able to attack on the ground early. And here's the keys from the Eagles offensive coordinator, Matt Leone, what he has to say about last week's game against Howard, and a few final words to the Eagle fans. Coach, thanks for joining us for one more time this season.
Thanks for having me again, Jonathan.
All right, Coach, well, let's go out and start with the big one. The Eagles win the game at Howard. Once again, for the third time this year, the number it's 24 unanswered points. The Eagle offense was really rolling. We saw Davius Richard get loose. We saw Mookie Collier get loose. Everything seemed to be going for the Eagles.
Yeah, the guys did a great job throughout the week in their preparation, and it really paid off on Saturday. I'm really proud of the way the guys came out ready to play, and it was exciting to watch them perform.
Is that game one of the toughest weather conditions to play in this year?
It started out that way, and then, of course, there was a constant breeze, wind factor involved in the game, but it didn't seem to bother the guys too much. We were worried about the rain and it being cold early on in the game, but the sun came out for the Eagles, and it ended up being a nicer day than anticipated.
A nicer day than anticipated and a really more explosive day than anticipated, you might say, for North Carolina Central. You're able to get some of the upcoming guys in there later on in the game. But Coach, really, what was the most critical thing for the Eagles in that game and how they were able to be so good?
I think the big thing was establishing the running game. I thought the offensive line did a great job all game long. The running backs, all three of them, Mookie Collier, Isaiah Totten, and Jordan Freeman all did a great job carrying the football. They all were able to find the end zone as well. So anytime you're able to rush for 293 yards, it's going to be hard not to win those games if you're able to rush for that many yards.
Yeah, this rushing attack, everybody's looked at it all season long, and they're really proving their worth. So, Coach, the Eagles get the win against Howard. One more game left against an upstart Delaware State team, a team that personally I looked at all year long and over the last few years and say, hey, this is a team that I think people have been overlooking. But before we get to that Del State team, Coach, you look back over this year. This is your first year here at North Carolina Central. What's the experience been like?
It's been a great experience. Really enjoy the young men on our roster. They come to work every single day ready to go. The staff works extremely hard. You can see there's a lot of passion for Eagle football, from the alumni and students here on campus. So it's been really awesome to be a part of. And then just to see the growth in our young men. We've got a young football team that has grown up a bunch during this year. We've had some great senior leadership throughout this year as well, but majority of our roster is young guys, and just to see their growth this season shows a lot of promise, for this last game and going into the future.
You talk about the growth of this team. I know I've asked you week to week, but when you look at this team now and from where they've started, what's really impressed you about this football team?
Just the resilience. They doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. They fight till the end. They play hard, and they have that no quit, never give up mentality. When they come to practice every day, they come with the mindset to improve and get better. And there's not many days that walking off the practice field that I felt like, was not a productive day. Every time we walk off the field, I feel like the guys come out with the mindset and the attitude to get better. And because of that, you have seen the growth in these young men. And they've battled through injuries, through, flu season and strep throat, all the stuff that everybody's been dealing with. But they battle through it, and they put their helmet on and get to work. And very proud of the way their efforts and the way they attack on the field, as well as what they do in the classroom as well.
All right, Coach. Well, this team, they've been impressive in every phase, I can say, from my viewpoint this year. And, Coach, they get to put it all together for a chance at a trophy on Saturday. Delaware State, they came away with the surprising win against Norfolk State last weekend. What have you seen from the Hornets?
They are a resilient team themselves. They play extremely hard. They got some guys up front on the defensive line that are very impressive players. Number 90 defensive end for them is a really good player. They're stout at linebacker, and then they're athletic group in the back end. So it's definitely going to be a good challenge. And like you said, they've got a lot of momentum built up. They're having a good year, and so they got confidence, and they're believing in what they're doing. So we're going to have to come out and play well. And really play well for 4 quarters.
All right, Coach, what are going to be the offensive keys for North Carolina Central to close the year with a win at home?
We want to start fast. That's something that the last 2 games we felt like we have not done a good job of offensively. So we want to get off to a fast start. We want to build off of what we did last week and win at the line of scrimmage, and then understand the situation and play great situational football. Win first down, execute on third down, score touchdowns in the red zone.
All right, Coach, before we get done here, I'd like to leave the opportunity for you, if you have anything you'd like to say to the Eagle fans here in the final game of the season.
To come out and support this last home game. We really appreciate all the support that you have given us thus far in this season. And these young men work extremely hard and deserve the support you give. But You guys make it that much more special for our young men, and we appreciate y'all.
Coach, congratulations on the great year. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So there are your keys to the game. You just heard from Eagles offensive coordinator Matt Leone, defensive coordinator Juan Navarro before that, and of course the Eagles head coach Trei Oliver at the top of the program. Just 1 week to go in league play here in the MEAC. Of course, North Carolina Central and Del State meeting for championship implications. A 2 o'clock kickoff here on ESPN+. South Carolina State trying to finish the season unblemished in league play, as they will already be going to the Celebration Bowl. But if they fall against the Spartans, they will be held to a share of the title with the Eagles. That game also kicking off 2 o'clock at Dick Price Stadium up in Norfolk. Georgetown will visit Morgan State. That game at noon on ESPN+, and Virginia University of Lynchburg, the Dragons, will visit Howard at 1 o'clock at Green Stadium. And those are all the games that will be in action in the MEAC. Just the 2 league games left. It's us and then Norfolk State and South Carolina State. All right, so your weather report for tomorrow, mid-50s, high of 56. Kickoff will be at about 53 degrees at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Make sure you bundle up and make sure you keep a jacket on in case you decide to stay at the tailgate a little bit longer to celebrate a trophy lift for North Carolina Central. Well, that just about does it for this week's edition of the NCCU Sports Network pregame show. I'm Jonathan Duran. I'd like to say thank you to all the Eagle fans for listening all year long. Really couldn't do this without your support. I also couldn't do it without the support of all of the Eagle staff, the Eagle football coaching staff, our AD, Dr. Ingrid Wicker-McCree, Kyle Serba, our head sports information director, and our point man for football. All of the stats that he's able to provide me with help me out every week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And we'll see you down the line for Eagle basketball. Let's go, Eagles. Let's have a good senior day.